wish to revisit this. No, the ASQN orientation is not over. It is just now beginning. Alhamdulillah. All right, y'all. First off, Jazakallah khair to everyone for joining today. Inshallah, this next, I want to say about 20 to 30 minutes, we'll be going over your child's experience here at Allen Masjid pertaining to their after-school Quran Nadara. So what we'll be covering in the next 20 to 30 minutes, we'll be covering the different goals that we have, teacher admin information, communications, school calendar, schedule, supplies, drop-off pickup procedures, school rules, and of course, any questions that you may inshallah have. First and foremost, who are the few people that you can look for if there's something that goes wrong in your experience in ASQN? When it comes to anything pertaining to registration, any payment concerns, you need to update any information on the school website. All of that can be best done by contacting the email below, iaschool@myallenmasjid.com. Anyone who wishes to get in touch with the Shura or the administration, that can be done through our Shura liaison, which is Brother Ahmed Sani, and that email below is the most ideal to contact him. And if you have any questions pertaining to the classroom experience, what is being covered, what has my child done so far, why is my child starting from this point, what is the overall goal that you have for my child, what will their time look like every single day, why is it that you chose to start them there, any specific question related to the actual program, the curriculum, and your child's performance, that will be directed at myself. And you can get a hold of me at that email below, and you will have access to my phone number as well, which we'll get to in just a second. Folks, communication is absolutely key, alhamdulillah. And so it takes two to tango, right? We've heard the saying before, it takes two hands to clap. And so you trust us and have given us this wonderful amana of your amazing child every single day, Monday through Thursday, for 1 hour, whether that's 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock, or 6 o'clock. You're hoping from us that we do our due diligence in ensuring that we impart all the correct things in terms of their Quranic education. And inshallah, we will absolutely aim to do so every single day. But we, again, only get there for an hour. And even within that hour, 5 minutes coming in, taking off your shoes, putting on your shoes, I needed to go to the restroom, I'm going to take a break to drink water. They don't just read for 60 minutes straight, right? Even within that, we get about like 45, 50 minutes with them. So within that 45, 50-minute time, we want to make sure that everything that we're doing, ASQN is a little different, right? Like if I'm talking to Sunday school parents or Saturday school parents or Misbah parents, I see those students once a week. Teachers know that this child's going to come on Sunday, and then I'm going to see them again next Sunday. With your children, mashallah, it's a lot more of a unique dynamic because we see them every single day. So you know what that means, seeing them every single day? One day they're going to come in with a huge smile on their face because they had a really awesome day. And then that very same next day, they're going to have the biggest frown on their face because they're just not having a good day. And it happens. And we go through those days too. Why can't our kids go through that, right? So the daily meeting with the students, it has its own dynamic. And that's why it's even more important to make sure that we're all on the same page. That anything that we need to be in touch about, that we're making sure that we are in communication about. Now, I think this pulls up, just to make sure, before you take your phones out, let me test this. There's been a lot of QR codes today. طيب. I'll be sharing a WhatsApp QR code. Give me 1 second. So this actually incorrect one. 1 second, I'll update this. So now, as I'm going ahead and updating this, so parents and those that are here as well, every single week, every single day, you will have communication from teachers in regards to what is it that your child has done that specific day, and what is it that we can anticipate that they cover at home as well. Look, your child has a whole life. They have school, they have family, they have extracurriculars, they have a life, right? And we're not just trying to make Quran as like that one extra burden that I have to finish before I can. How can we seemingly integrate Quran into their life? That's pretty much the biggest thing that we're aiming for. So every single day, this WhatsApp group that you're about to join, there's going to be two parts of this WhatsApp group. The first part of this WhatsApp group is going to be joining the main communications page. The main communications page is going to have just general announcements pertaining to their classroom experience, if they have any days off, anything pertaining to the ASQN experience, that inshallah will be shared on this WhatsApp. Now, if you can take out your phones and everyone can shoot your camera and point it and zoom it into this QR code, this will take you to the ASQN WhatsApp group, inshallah. Now, obviously within the greater ASQN program, your child is only going to have one specific class and one specific teacher. All right, so we'll break that all down in just a second. So that's, did everyone get the QR code? If you missed it, no worries at all, especially for our parents that are online. Inshallah, rest assured, I will be sharing all of this on the school website and emailing it to you as well. So if you miss it, don't worry. All right, let's keep rolling. This calendar will also be present on the school website, inshallah. This is pretty much your go-to to see all the days that we are in session and all the days we may not be in session. Now, generally, when Allen ISD is off, did it turn off? Generally, when Allen ISD is not in session as well. So fall break is something that they recently added in ISD. We're also going to be off for fall break. We'll be off for Thanksgiving break. We'll be off for winter break. During the school year, though, there will be special days, and also Labor Day is another one that's coming up soon. There will be certain days where we'll have special events, okay? It's not that they have to read Quran every single day, right? It's like at least a couple of days of the year, we can take off from this. It's going to be something in-house. For example, in winter, we do a bonfire and s'mores event, right? And you know, we try to make it interactive and we try to add teaching components in it. But honestly, these special events are really for them to just come build friendships and just to have a good time, because they're going to be here every single day learning and working. So I just want to give them some time to themselves. And then March comes around, we have spring break. April is going to be interesting this year, inshallah, March and April, because if you're an older parent that has been here in our school programs, we've never had Ramadan this much integrated into the school year. Now it's like Ramadan and the school year are pretty much going to be happening at the same time. So some days may fall within spring break. There will be some days we have class because, of course, students should see the masjid during Ramadan. But your parents and teachers are teachers, and it's Ramadan and people are fasting, and our focus is on other things as well, just as humans, right? And as Muslims. So the last 10 days of Ramadan we take. Last 10 days, you focus on your ibadah, we'll focus on ours, and we'll reconvene after Eid. ASQN is also very different in that June 24 that you see, that June month, that's not summer. There is a summer camp, like Islamic education summer camp, but there's also summer semester for ASQN. What I mean by that is the only month that your child will fully be off is July of next year. There's no 1 month or one extended break that they have. The longest the break gets is winter break or maybe Ramadan break, like 2.5 weeks. And then they got to get back, right? Why is it like that? It's Quran. So the longer that gap goes in between them visiting the Quran, the more they end up regressing. So if they were on page 50 before the break and we left, technically, yes, 51 comes after 50, but naturally they did 2.5 weeks of vacation. You took them to Banff, Canada, and they went to Paris and all of these amazing experiences. They come back. Of course, they're going to like revisit some concepts, right? There's going to be some brushing up and some. So with Quran, it's really, this is one program that I need to give a very realistic vantage point to parents, that the name of the game for us is not, and I'm going to visit this in the next few slides as well. My goal is not, along with our teachers and our team members, is not to rush your kids through the Nurani Qaida. and to just get them on the mushaf as fast as possible. If we do that, inevitably they will reach a point in the mushaf where it'll get really, really difficult. And all of us know that things, when they get difficult, we're human beings, right? We don't like things that are very difficult. Naturally, especially if you're a kid, you're gonna be like, I think I'm good with this. I don't need to do any more of this. I've done enough. So the reason why we take our time with the qaida, so for some of you that are just joining the program, I know there's a lot of new families online and some over here as well. We are going to take our time going through the qaida. Does that mean that they'll stay on it forever and you won't see any sort of progress and they'll just be going at a snail-like speed? No, no, no. But the point of it is you gave us an amana, you trusted us, so we need to fulfill that trust as best as we possibly can. Islamic studies is one thing, but Quran is a whole other ballgame. If I teach your child how to read it incorrect, as much as I like to believe that, hey, I might have something good in store if I teach correctly, if I teach it wrong, the flip side of it also exists, that I'll be asked about that. And, you know, any teacher will be held accountable. So it's really, really making sure that lessons are thoroughly gone through. And that's why we don't have too long of a gap in terms of their breaks. Give them about 2.5 weeks, and then we come back in session. Now, when your child comes to class, where will they be dropped off and where will you pick them up? If you are an older parent, meaning like from previous years, we've utilized the sisters area on this side right here, on my left side and your right side. Now, alhamdulillah, as you see around us, these fences are not for aesthetic purposes. We are, alhamdulillah, going through our last expansion phase. And with expansion comes just having to adjust a little bit. So this year, for now, I'm communicating this now. If 3 months from now, if the general contractor is like, yo, door 1 needs to be closed for 2 weeks, then you'll hear from me. And I'll say, hey, we're going to readjust to door 4. I'm just giving you hypotheticals. This year is very much the year of flexibility and just being ready to adapt. Inshallah, we won't be hitting you with this every week or every other day. It'll just be a few times in the year, but I'm just giving you a very clear idea, just so we know what to expect as the year continues. But to start off the school year, much like where you came from today, door number 1, that will be the same exact entry point where you will drop your child off. No, you do not need to park your car. No, you do not need to come. If it's the first day of class, and specifically for first-time parents, we understand. If you want to come inside class, meet the teacher, see the class, totally okay. Day 1. Existing parents, y'all know the drill. You know how it goes. You know where the classes are. Drop your kid off. Inshallah, we'll see you at pickup time. Pickup time is from the same exact point of area. So day 1, if you want to stick around, hang around, totally cool. Let's talk about day 2 onwards. When you drop your child off, inshallah, you'll be on your way. When you come back, you'll see a line over here, right? The line usually starts 5 minutes before dismissal time. So we anticipate, if I say 4 o'clock is a starting time, 4 o'clock is class starts, right? So inshallah, if your child is at 4, I understand bringing them from school, right? Got late, rush hour, traffic, all of that is totally understandable. The aim, inshallah, what we'll all try to do is try to bring them just 5 minutes before class. What ends up happening, inshallah, we're totally okay with, but that will, inshallah, be the goal. 5 minutes before class, you'll drop them off. And then 5 minutes before dismissal, you'll start lining up outside. Just right here by door 1, we'll have our set volunteers. As soon as we see your car and as soon as we see the parent, then we take the child to the car and then we get them seated inside the car. Sorry, so the red, actually, you know what? Let me show you some of my drawing skills. Just this one right here. These ones aren't check marks. They're actually like arrows pointing out. This is the one main check mark. This one is good because this is all just one. You're talking about this one, right? Yeah, this is all one area. Please don't judge my drawing. But yeah, that area, this one right here where you came from, that's the only entry and dismissal point that we have for ASQN. Okay, if your children are in other programs, I'm not going to discuss that now, but that does look a little different. Okay, so like Sunday school, Saturday school, that's a different story. After school will just be through this door, inshallah. All right. Now, what are some things that we anticipate that students will be bring to class each and every single day. No, I'm not talking about their actual books. That's one thing. But one thing is, look, I understand that there's some students that have been here for a few years. So they understand I need to just come in. This is what's expected of me, and I'll go home. There's many students that are coming for the first time. There's separation anxiety. There's nervousness. There's not fear of the unknown, not knowing what this class is or who this random teacher is, right? There's so many different factors. One of the biggest things that we can start, at least this next week, is to start building this sense of desire within them. Like, do you know you're about to start learning the Quran, right? Like, they're going to get all of that day one anyway from the teacher, but to start kind of building this sense of excitement, for this first day that they're about to come. For those that are on the virtual side, these next few components will just be specific to you. Any virtual computers or tablets or laptops to make sure that that's adequately set up. And if you are logging in on Zoom, you will do so in the format that you see below. You will put your first name and then you will put the initial for the last name. Now, there will be things like progress sheets and things like that, but we'll go through all of that now, inshallah. Alhamdulillah, it just so happened to be that all of the teachers, alhamdulillah, are returning back from travel one of these upcoming days, either today or tomorrow. So the teachers are not here today. You will definitely be able to meet them that first day of class. But these are the different teachers that we have for this upcoming year. Sister Ashira Sheikh, familiar face, has been a teacher now for 2 years. Hafidha Lamia and Hafidha Jannah have been teachers now for the last 3 years. Hafidh Ilyas Khan is the younger brother of Hafidh Hadis Khan, who's teaching on Zoom. Hafidh Hadis has been teaching for 2 years now. This is first year for Hafidh Ilyas. Hafidha Nora has been doing her own independent teaching and has had different academies and private teachings that she's done on her own. She's finally bringing that skill set to a public domain or a school domain. And so this will be her first year of teaching in our masjid. Hafidh Junaid Zafar is now in his 4th year of teaching, alhamdulillah. Hafidha Shaista is now in her 2nd year of teaching. And then our Zoom teachers, for our Zoom classes, we have Hafidha Maryam and we have Hafidh Hadis. Every single day, your child will have a progress sheet. In years past, well, these last 2 years, we only did it electronically. This year, we're going to print this out as well. So your child will have a copy at home that they bring, and just for the cloud and just for data purposes, we'll have one electronically stored as well that both of us will have access to. Every day, the teacher will have one set of responsibilities at this progress sheet, and then you'll also have one thing you'll need to do. The teacher will write the daily lesson, what the student covered. They'll do the homework, whatever is expected for them to cover. And then any remarks. Hey, this child, Maryam, had a really tough day today. She was saying that someone in school was bothering her. So this is like our way to kind of just talk to each other almost, right? Oh, Ismail had a wonderful day today. He said he was very excited about that one thing that you did for him. So maybe continue doing that thing for him, right? And it could actually even serve as an extension of like your household. What I mean by that is, alhamdulillah, there's been some parents in years past, by way of like their children coming to school, after school, they got close to a particular teacher, and they got close to the teacher in a way they didn't want to share something with the parent. They were able to share it with the teacher. Teacher went and shared it with the parent. Now, alhamdulillah, you can come up with some solution. Do you get what I'm saying? And it happens, right? You can't control who your child grows in an affinity towards and who they confide in. So it will really be up to us to each and every single day to maintain this communication. And all we'll ask from you is just sign it. Initial it. Do something that we know that the child can't do. So preferably a signature. And that way we know, hey, the parent has read this, right? The parent has seen this, and that way we know. So we don't have to like WhatsApp each other and stuff like that. I'm in class, I see the signature, you've done your job. You've seen what I wrote, and now we're on the same page. Do you get what I'm saying? So that is pretty much the main form of communication that we have in regards to their actual progress. Now, children are either in one of 3 categories when it comes to our program. They're either in the beginning stage, intermediate, or in the advanced stage, okay? Their experience at IAA after school Quran will just be these 3 levels. Once they've passed the advanced stage, that starts creeping into another program. I'll bring that up in just a second. If your child is in the beginning stages, they're just starting. Alif, ba, da, a, e, u, ba, bi, bu. Like it's just very, very beginning, self-explanatory. They're just starting. Middle is like alhamdulillah, they know how to piece some words together. They're a little shaky, but they can maybe perhaps even formulate some words and make a sentence together, but they're not really fluent. They know how to pronounce well, but they're still kind of in that building stage. Advanced is they've, alhamdulillah, reached the completion of this qaida, which again, for all clarity purposes, if your child is starting from page 1 this year in the qaida, more than likely they'll spend the year on the qaida as well. And they'll go through the whole thing this year. And by the end of the year, our goal is inshallah to have them at that advanced stage, getting ready to be on the cusp of that other program. And I'll say that in just a second. Intermediate students, after they've kind of passed on to the advanced stage, advanced students are ones that have finished this entire qaida. And our goal is that an advanced student should be someone who can go to any part of the world, open up any mushaf, read in front of any person, any sheikha, any sheikh, right? And no one should have any issues with their recitation. Everyone will be like, okay, this person knows what they're doing. That's the goal that you should, an expectation that you should demand of us. And in order for us to achieve that, we will demand that we continue being on the same page. Do you get what I'm saying? After they've completed the qaida, then they of course start on the mushaf. We do not use the, I guess for lack of better words, the Desi script, the South Asian, it's more common. The script looks a little bit different. We tend to shy away from that simply because that's not the more frequently used mushaf in the world. Sure, it is in some common parts. Even if you look at our 2 shelves over here, I think 95% of the mushafs, just on these 2 shelves alone, are the script that you see on the screen. They go to Medina, they pick up a mushaf, majority of them will be this script, right? Anywhere in the world this applies. So that's why it's that much more incumbent on us to get them familiar with something that they're going to see the most of. So this is the Quran script that we use. Each and every single day, we talked about this, but we'll say it one more time. We'll start 5, maximum 10 minutes before class. And students will come into class. Some are here at 4, some at 5, and some at 6. As soon as that hour is finished, right at the 5-minute mark, we request that parents start lining up for the carpool line. And inshallah, students will be dismissed in a timely fashion. And inshallah, there'll be someone to place the child in your car. For the parents that are joining in, if you can kindly go ahead and mute yourself, so that way all the parents can listen, inshallah. Some rules that we have: get in the class mindset. Those that are at home have a designated workstation. So virtual parents, please don't have your child log in while they're laying in bed with a blanket over them and they have their snack next to them. Like, it's cute to see them comfortable. But again, if the teacher wishes to impart anything, we just want to make them adequately ready. So virtual parents especially, please make some workstations at home. What do I mean by workstation? Just give them like a little corner, right? Let them get some sense of ownership of that area. Put like, this is Nora's Quran corner, right? And you put like a little sajjada or like a little rug, and you made it theirs, and you made like a little desk. If a child continues to log in, in an inappropriate manner, then we will definitely reach out to the parent just so we can correct that and adequately prepare the child for class. Dress appropriately. Now, we don't have a mandatory dress code. We have a highly recommended dress code. What do I mean by that? All of us are in different phases of our life. Many of us have had ups and downs. The same will happen with our children as well. We highly encourage that they definitely come with, for example, the boys. I know it's summer, it's really hot. We're like 110-degree weather right now, but we still do encourage to wear longer pants, for example. They don't have to come in a thobe. Some kids do come in, and it happens. It happens every year. Oh, my classmate comes in a thobe. Mom, I want to buy one too, right? Some of the girls see their classmates wearing hijab. They're like, you know what? I want to go. They don't even wear it at home, but no, class, I'm going to go wear it. So it's a training ground, right? Much like the masjid is a training ground for all of us. So it's highly encouraged that they come dressed with these dress codes. So like for the girls to come in with the hijab, and the boys to come in with long pants, or both to come in with long pants and appropriate clothing. But again, we also understand everyone is at separate different places. And then we also understand a gradual progress to build up towards it as well. Be on time, be ready to have fun and learn how to read and memorize the Quran, be an active participant, follow the teacher's instructions, show respect to others in the classroom, speak in turn and listen when others speak. Now, another thing is, another time you will definitely hear from the teacher or administration, and it does not happen very frequently, so I don't want to scare you, but I do want to prepare you. If there's any children that are experiencing bullying or are exhibiting the bullying, both parents will get in contact with. If there's, first we try to take care of it on site, and alhamdulillah, believe you me, I've only had to call in the last 7 years of after school, Sunday school, Saturday school, and Misbah, I've had to call 4 parents. I'm with no exaggeration. 4 parents I had to call where like I could not do anything for the child. I felt like I wasn't getting through at all, and I needed the help of the parent. Almost always, we sit with the child, we talk to them, and alhamdulillah, there you guys all have very great and respectful kids, and they make for very respectful students. If that persists though, if there's any type of behavior of that kind that exists, we will definitely be sure to get in touch with the parent. And also, there's many instances, for example, like we have the carpool lane, you'll have like volunteers, right? There's in certain points of the program, there are people who are not necessarily employed, but they're just much like you parents that have had the time and wanted to offer the time. So if there is anything in your experience that ever does, in your estimation, you feel like it's not up to par or it's going south, you have absolute right to reach out to someone, but we don't have rights to actually just talk to whoever and however we want, if that makes sense. So if there's something pertaining to your child's classroom experience, a volunteer will not be able to help you with that, right? And them hearing a piece of your mind is not something that we will necessarily allow. If you have something to say, you absolutely are entitled to say it, but it needs to be channeled in the correct avenues. And so anytime you have any complaints of any kind, you got a bullseye right here. Take your best shot. And we will address, inshallah, right? It's not like just to leave it to the side, but we will also be sure to make sure that all of us give the courtesy and respect that we do to our child's teacher, that we do to any team member, right? Like we give these same teachings to our kids, like treat the CEO the same way that you treat the custodian, right? So the same way that I give respect and reverence to a child's teacher, inshallah, please extend that same common courtesy to all of our volunteers, old or young, inshallah. If there's any part of your experience that does not live up to the standard that we promised, rest assured, I'm here to, inshallah, attend to that the best that we possibly can. Our goal, alhamdulillah, so like I said, we have your child for 1 hour every single day. We were talking about this, right before in the beginning. Obviously, our goal is to teach your child Quran, right? That's the goal. What's not the goal and what's something that we absolutely have to stay away from is them hating coming to the masjid, them hating coming to Quran class, or them hating anything that has to do with Islam. Like, dude, can we just like finish this already? I'm tired of this. That's the last thing that we need to happen, okay? If your child for a few days has been like, I don't really feel like going back, please reach out. Let's discuss it, right? The thing is, if we can actively stay in communication, that only and only helps, not us, it helps a child's experience. And that's really the whole name of the game here. Why are you sitting here? Why am I sitting here? Why do we have teachers? It's all to ensure that this future generation of ours is equipped with that same thing that we all have, right? This ability to connect with the Quran, to at least read the Quran. So all of these things, we're like really, we drill our team that treating the kids a certain type of way, kindness, empathy, self-encouragement, self-improvement. These things are like at the utmost hallmark of the program. Because if I'm talking to your child in a very abrasive or difficult manner, that child's not going to learn anything. And that applies to anyone, right? Parents alike. You know this. Like if you tried one approach, it was like very, very stern, and you saw your child just like turned off. And then you switch the approach and you look at them and like and smile, and it's like they were so much more receptive. That also applies for us. And so everything that we do, whether it's at the Sunday school or the after school, it's the classroom has this concept of cares, cooperation, assertion, responsibility, empathy, and self-control. And we, of course, can only go as far as we as parents and teachers work together for. And that's pretty much it. Alhamdulillah. I said 30 minutes, so that's 30 minutes. So let's get to the questions. Okay, one thing I want to make clear. Your child's specific teacher and which specific class they're in has not been allocated yet. However, within this upcoming week, Sunday school is not going to get too many updates. They're going to come Sunday and they're going to do their thing Sunday. However, you are definitely going to get communication this week. Who is going to be your child's teacher, right? Which specific area can you expect them to have their class? Some of these like main bits of information, you will only get that, inshallah, if you are on the WhatsApp group. We will continue using email for a little bit, but again, WhatsApp will be kind of our bread and butter, inshallah. All right, go for it. Yeah.
So the program, like the school program, 3 years. Beginner, intermediate, and advanced.
Yeah. Oh, actually, thank you for bringing that up. So I didn't mention the second part, right? So now say your child finishes after school, and it's many students, alhamdulillah, that are kind of on the cusp of that. So they've done after school for 1 year. They went from beginner to intermediate, advanced. They finished the qaida. Arman's going to be one of those kids, inshallah, this year, right? So once they've gotten to that advanced stage, now they will be on the mushaf, but still under the banner of after school, okay? They will read about 7 to 10 ajza just by looking and reading, because everything that they just learned, they're going to go apply it now in the mushaf and in the Quran. They're going to go and actually, we start them from the 30th juz. It's the easiest, the smallest verses, the most digestible. And so we build from there. And eventually, some of the students here, right, are like all the way on the 25th, 24th, 23rd juz. Once they've kind of reached that, they've developed a sense of comfort and fluidity and fluency. Now we tell parents, you can keep them in after school. We'll just continue reading through the Quran, or pending your child's eligibility, they can now shift into the part-time hifz program. It's a totally separate program. They're not going to learn how to read in that one. They already did that for a bunch of years. They're not going to learn different rules and how to pronounce. They've already done that. Now they're just going to memorize. Some of them have memorized a little bit of the 30th juz, the last 10 surahs, half of the 30th, the whole 30th, 29 and 30. There's all types of different students in there, right? So essentially that's the whole Quranic track. At IAA, that's what the Quranic track looks like. Starts at after school, eventually can make its way to part-time hifz. And for those that are really, really interested, we've only had maybe 1 or 2 that have done this. From part-time hifz, they went to full-time hifz. And inshallah, like if that's something parents are interested in, we cross that bridge as it comes. But full-time hifz is essentially, as the name suggests, full-time hifz. No school, homeschooling. They come every day, 9 to 2 or whatever the hours are, and they just full-time do hifz. So after school, beginner, intermediate, advanced, then goes into part-time hifz, then goes into full-time. Now, can I give you a definitive timeline on what the after-school program looks like? Unfortunately not. It's very, very subjective. Some children, with the help of parents and teachers, all being on the same page, they zoom through it. Zoom, as in like properly, gradually build up to it. Not all parents have the bandwidth to be as active as, they may want to. Some parents just don't have the time. Some parents, there's some parents are single parents, right? Working 2 jobs or just whatever. Everyone's life circumstances are different, right? That track is going to look vastly different. So I'll give you a general timeline, and then I'll leave it kind of up to you to use that and then kind of look at your child and then kind of piece it together. It takes, if they're starting from Alif Ba Ta, they'll go through the entire Qaida by the end of this year. By the start of summer semester, they should be at the pretty much towards the end of the Qaida. And the final assessment is usually, it's done by myself, Once they've passed the assessment, we give them the green light. They're ready to go to the Mus'haf. Until they don't pass that assessment, they don't go to the Mus'haf. By summertime next year, if there's a student starting from zilch, nothing, zero, by next summer, we should be 3/4, 75, 80% done with the qaida right towards the end of that journey. And by next year, they should, inshallah, be pretty much closing, tying the knot on what they did year one and going towards the Quran. So in the after school, a year and a half, 2 years, but I don't like keeping them any longer. I like to let parents know, like, hey, they're reaching their eligibility mark, put them into part-time hifz. They've been here for a very long time. But again, it's unique, right? Some students, the ones that I just told you, they took 2 years. There's a couple of students that have now been in the program for 4 years, but it doesn't matter. Do you get what I'm saying? I have classmates of mine that finished hifz in 1 year. Some finished it in 6 months. How? You know, they just did it. I took my sweet time. Yeah, I took like 4.5 years. You know, they're like, is there something wrong with this child? No, just life happens, you know? And so same thing, I can give you that general timeline, but so many factors go into play to see, because, you know, life happened for a month. I became inactive. I wasn't as active as I could be, right? Something happened in your personal life, a relative, business, anything, right? And now all of a sudden your child was doing good, but hey, remember in January and February that thing happened? So their progress naturally slowed down a little bit. But now things are good. March, we can kick it back up. You know, it's so many factors that go into it. So that's a general timeline, but every student is very unique as well. We'll do this and then we'll do that. Great question, great question. So no class exceeds 5 students. The ratio is 1 to 5. Yeah, so ideally, yes, but that does not guarantee that they will be exactly in that same spot. So typically beginner students will be with beginner students. Some will be on page 5, some will be on page 9, some will be on page 14. Because even if you get them to start off exactly the same day, exactly at the same time, exactly on the same spot, everything, just give it 1 week and they'll all be on the different spots. Because one student picked it up like this, you said it once, and then they pronounced it exactly like that. Some student never spoke Arabic in his life. This is like his 4th language. It's going to be a lot harder, right? So that first line just took him 1 week, and that other student already finished the first page. Do you get what I'm saying? So yes, we'll hope to try to put them with peers. It definitely won't be that there's a advanced student and a beginner student. That's what won't happen. But hopefully what will happen is they'll be very, very similar, most likely just a little bit apart, if that makes sense. Because naturally they will go apart anyway. Good question though. Yeah. Oh, sorry. And your question. Hmm. Mm-hmm. Yes, great question. Great question. Students that are returning students, this does not apply to you. We already have all of the progress sheets from last year, and we just go based off of that. New, no, I know, I was just about to get into new students. Because there's some old ones here too, so I just want to cover both bases. New students that are coming. New students, there could be one of 2 categories. New student starting from absolute fresh, don't really need to have any conversation there. They'll be starting from beginning. New student, but had previous experience, that has conversation. How much previous experience do they have? Where did they do up to? How much do they retain? How much do they remember? What was the quality of whatever it is that they covered? So in the assessment, typically, I mean, parents sometimes like to be there. Some parents are not there, but you will definitely have the conclusion of what that assessment was. I do the assessment. It takes me no longer than 10 minutes. All I have to do is open the qaida, go to different parts. I listen to their pronunciation. I listen to their fluidity. Based off the number of different factors that we have, I tell you exactly where they need to start. Now, it will be very, very disheartening for someone to have done the entire qaida with someone and have started the Quran, but they go to this random school in Allen, and now this random guy with the beard wants me to start all over again. Why do I have to start? That other bearded guy was okay with me being here, but now this bearded guy wants me to start again. It's a legit question, right? And it's very disheartening. Like as parents, I know we could just talk and you'll be like, okay, fine, I guess if they have to. Imagine it as a child. Like it's one of the most, it breaks their spirit and even their confidence when you just kind of throw them back and you're like, all right, we're going to just start all over again. We have what we call a fast track program because sometimes we do need to go revisit certain concepts, but revisiting concepts does not mean restarting. That just means brushing up on some things that we may have forgotten or some things we were rusty on. So let's take, for example, the case of Harun. Say Harun, let's take that first page because that's kind of like the main foundational page, right? Alif, bat, that all the way till the last letter. Say out of the 28 letters, 25 of them, perfect pronunciation. But the letter Ghain or the letter Dad is a little difficult. Arabic is not the first language, right? So what we do is in this fast track program is yes, they will revisit the qaida, but just the things that we need to focus on. And that's also communicating to them like, hey, you know all of these things really, really well. So I'm not even going to bother you about those things. But these things, do you agree? Like we can maybe use these things. And I want to show that child. I want to show Harun like, hey, this is how you did it. This is how it needed to be done. Do you agree that maybe we can sit on this for a couple of days or just revisit this concept for a little bit? Okay, that looks a lot easier than you're going to start from here. No questions asked, right? And we really just kind of try to communicate with the student, regardless of their age, because they're of understanding age. 6+, mashallah, they're sharp. So if you tell them and explain to them, like, we're just doing this just for this time frame and just for these certain concepts, your child is amazing. But shadda is a little difficult. Connecting two words together, and it's a little difficult to, or sukoon is a little hard. Qalqala is not the easiest. Dude, I'm not going to visit concepts that they know. It makes no sense, right? Like I would be annoyed as a child if you're teaching me something I already know, when there's a whole book of things that we can be focused on things I don't know, right? So definitely a great question. And we definitely won't put students in that predicament. In the assessment, we'll make a track for them. We'll be like, hey, inshallah, by fall break, we anticipate them, or Thanksgiving break, them being back where they were. But this next 3-4 months, we have to cover these concepts. And once we've covered these concepts, if we then again, by month 4, are good on these concepts, they've been understood, cemented, cool. Let's go back to where you were. You get what I'm saying? So that another reason why like it's so difficult to put every kid on the same exact pace, because it's very individual pace. It's collective, it's with their classmates. They'll have classmates, they'll laugh, giggle, teacher, all of that. Very individual pace though. I think I saw a hand back there. Yes. Wa alaikum assalam. That is a great question. No, you're good. You're good. Typically in years past, yes. As of right now, I can't promise that. I will take it down in the notes. Reason being is because even the virtual side is full. So like that ratio, I really don't go over it just because then the teacher and the student suffer, right? Like the more you just throw into a class, like it's the quality diminishes. So let me revisit this. After we're done with this, can you just meet me and then I'll take it down in the notes, inshallah. Any other questions? Yes. No, there is. Yeah, 100%. But again, like, depending on how much they're able to do on a daily basis, will also signify how much we expect them to do at home. So for example, some children can do like one entire page of the Quran, right? Okay, so that will also, your next page will be what your homework is. Some students can just do like one line, right? So I can't give them too crazy of a homework. It'll just be something basic, right? It'll be like, here, listen to this recording and listen to this and just repeat it a bunch of times. That's your homework. And then in addition to that, it's like they have so many extracurriculars. Like homework is a very fine line between it being something beneficial and it being something which is burdensome. There's a very fine line. Very fine line in between it being, okay, cool, alhamdulillah, I got the benefit of this homework versus, oh my God, I have to sit and do this whole entire thing, right? So we're like, every day there is homework, but we're very particular on how much we give it. And it's usually the amount that they're covering in class because they would have to cover it the next day as well. So they just get a chance to visit it at home, if that makes sense. And then it's a gradual build up, right? Some, they start at the 1 line and they get it to 2 and a 3 and then continues to go forward. Let's see if we have any questions online. Of course. Yes, absolutely. So you won't buy the book. It's part of your registration. So when they come day 1, they will get a book. Yeah. So in years past, we've given the book before, and then like the student came the first day of class and we're like, all right, guys, take out your books. And they're like, what books are you talking about? And we're like, okay. So we'll give it to them day 1, inshallah. Yes. So let him bring his Quran. Between us though, right? Like if he may need to go on the fast track program, well, yeah, we'll let him know that day as well, and then we'll take it from there. But yeah, let him come with his Quran, of course. Yes.
What about the Islam?
Wa alaikum assalam.
What about the
So they will have a designated, they will have 2 pickup slots that they're going to be emailed today. And parents that are virtual, if we can get it in time, then alhamdulillah. Worst case scenario, because I'm just giving this, not to say that do this, but it is available if worst case happens. We have PDF copies of it as well, so we'll just forward that, right? Temporarily, until like we're able to set a time, come pick up the book, and then that will be the main thing, inshallah. Okay. Was this the brother Najat? Was this, are you Najat? Okay, that's your question, or that's someone else? That's you? Okay, cool. That's not you asking that question, right? Okay, cool. Okay, cool. I just wanted to make sure. Any other questions, y'all? Yes, sir. Yeah, not even difficult to accommodate. It's impossible because they're all full. You know, the thing, man, like subhanAllah, inshallah next year with like the additional spaces. So every real estate is occupied. Yeah. So like here, this domain is the part-time hifz. And then there's like a bunch of dividers and smaller classes that are made individually. And then upstairs is the part-time hifz. And then downstairs, upstairs is the ASQN, downstairs is the ASQN. So really, we only have enough seats for the amount of registrants. And I think the only possibility in years past was on-site going to virtual, but shifting hours is impossible because there's all full. Even the 6 to 7 that we just opened this year, that got full too. So alhamdulillah, no complaints. Yes, absolutely. You can get the QR code to join again. Here's the QR code. Yes. Okay. Any other questions? I'll get that inshallah added here.
Brother Noman,
Yes.
I had a question about the kids' teachers.
Hmm.
So for my daughter Zara, I have sister Nora listed, but for Zayan, there's no teacher listed.
So we mentioned this earlier. So inshallah, whatever you see right now, even that may be subject to change. So this upcoming week, you will be getting virtual parents. You'll need to obviously come pick up the book as well, but all parents will be notified of exactly what class their child is in as well. So rest assured, like whatever you see for Zara and Zayan right now at the moment, will probably change just so we can put them with their age appropriate classmates. So you'll get that exact info this week, inshallah. Sorry, did you hear that? Okay.
Yes, thank you, Brother Naman.
Of course, of course. All right. Any other questions on the chat? All right. Any other questions here? For the returning parents, again, much of it, alhamdulillah, is familiar to you. I know a lot of our newer parents, again, it's once we get into the flow of things, once we get used to the systems, it'll all start kind of just flowing, inshallah. But that is pretty much it from our side. Inshallah, all of you that are on the WhatsApp groups now, the admin contact is my actual personal contact info. If, of course, at any given time you have any concerns or any questions pertaining to your child's experience, please do not hesitate to reach out to us, inshallah. And we look forward to seeing all of you for the first day of class. Jazakumullahu khair. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.